everywhere else, but he still seems to have got it. And in fact, the Granger is a hero that seems really terrifying, actually. I almost thought like maybe it's just better to ban it, but nope, it's been given over to Eman again.
Yep. And Eman will gladly take it. I mean, had a great game in game 2. Let's see how he can pull this off. In fact, both goal laners have had great results with the Granger, right? Game 1 was Alita, game 2 it was Eman. AI Esports though got 2 massive power picks in the Joy and the Eve.
The Eve so far hasn't really been let through the draft too much, but Bigatron did switch things up, right? They went for the Tigreal ban instead after a Black Stellar performance in game number 1, which allowed the real world manipulation through, and the Fanny did end up being banned out once again. I also have to note that like this means that Fanny's win rate in the challenge season is 0%, by the way.
Yeah, pick once, but lost. I think that's sometimes it happens, you know. Like we had the first and only Bruno pick, which ended in a win, and then Fanny with the very unfortunate end. I think a lot of people didn't expect to even be the case.
Fanny has been just destroying pop games left and right. I'm pretty sure she has a very high ban rate in just like regular games of MLBB as well. So it's such a surprise to see how much difficulty that it had during game number 2. Now, I think we are going back to the basics for this current meta. The Granger is being paired up with Suyo as well as the Valentina, which Moreno played very well in game 2. And AI Esports are not doing too shabby either. Phobias, Joy, and Eve are all power picks in the current meta.
So this is one of the few, I think one of the few scenarios where we are going straight into the scenario of just having most of the power picks go through, and it really comes down to like who can pull it off better. But at the same time, it's also who kind of gets the gacha pick, right? In this case, I feel like I favor Red Side a lot more simply because you have that last pick X factor. They even give respect to Luke by banning out the Masha.
Just in case, right? Because I can also see it being quite a pain to deal with on a Joy. You run in, you think you're going to be doing a lot of damage, then you just get thunderclapped instead. So AI just wants to get rid of pocket picks for Bigatron Alpha. The Iritel also banned out by Bigatron, so not giving AI access to the most obvious counter to Granger.
Oh yeah, I think that's also a pretty smart choice, considering that Alita almost was able to just carry the entire game yesterday. Kind of force out the deep pockets of Alita, right? We've seen him on Granger and Iritel. And now, if you're Bigatron Alpha, you want to see what else he has in store.
There are still solid options. Khalid ban, yeah, makes sense. They had to choose between Khalid or Hilda, basically, because Joy can be quite vulnerable at level 1. And right now, with Eve and Phobius, they're not actually the best at dealing with a straight-up jungle dive if Bigatron wants to do it at level 1. So they'd rather deal with a Hilda instead if they had to, and they could technically take the Hilda themselves since they do have first pick in the second phase.
If you're Bigatron Alpha, do you start looking at like something like a Hylos? So they banned the Moskov, they still go down the gold lane pool, so no Moskov is really just gonna force the hands of Alita.
Well, there is also the Bellaric as a Joy counter, but maybe not quite as good with an Eve around. Still not too bad though. There's also, of course, the Glue to counter the Phobius. That could be pretty comfortable for Bigatron. Not too bad against the Joy either, since it's kind of difficult to burst him down. You just want ways to be able to stop the Joy from comfortably diving into the backline. We saw it earlier with Matilda as well, right? It could still be an option for Bigatron if they want to lean towards the mobility option instead.
Who said there are no shortcuts in life? I literally invented.
Going to be the chip pickup by AI. I mean, it is a pretty nasty pick, but instant response with the Akai. And Bigatron Alpha came prepared with this one. Akai, and then you have potential to steal the RWM in a pretty comfortable spot.
Akai's actually pretty good here, either as a roam or an EXP. In the EXP lane, he actually doesn't do badly against Phoveus in lane at all. And then if you save the heavy spin specifically for when Joy jumps in with the electrifying beats, you just continuously push her away. Like, Emma just has to stand behind this Akai and the damage will never reach him.
Yeah. It's the last pick. I mean, they're still looking for XP or Roma. So that's an XP Akai. They get the Matilda. I mean, talk about getting pushed away and seeing your target just fly away into the sunset.
This Matilda already denied a Joy many easy kills earlier today, in fact. So, Bigatron has a very solid lineup here for making sure that Joy just can never play. But the chip could be a way of disrupting that, depending on how Black is able to find the angles. And then the Bruno will be picked up for the second time here in the challenge season in the hands of Alita.
Let's see if that 100% win rate is going to remain for the Bruno. We did see it early on where Aaron Shiki gave us a world-class performance. So, I mean, if you are side of Alita, let's see if you can uphold that performance that we have just witnessed. This game 3 is going to really set the tone for what is going to be kind of the next stage for this Group D bracket. Now that AI Esports are one game away from performing what some may consider an upset.
Considering the brackets, this victory is the difference between a very easy path into the challenge finals or an arduous journey through the last chance qualifier. So neither side gonna be willing to give an inch here as we jump back into the land of Dawn once again. It is gonna be Bigatron Alpha on the blue side versus AI Esports on the red.
This is going to be such an important series. Of course, both junglers are going to be starting parallel jungling. DOZ on the orange, and of course you have the Joy PS starting the purple. Both end up on the gold side. Moreno dangerously low. Black getting the stun up, but Moreno hitting the level 2 means that an extra stat keeps him alive.
We can see that Black on the chip. While this hero was nerfed somewhat, still has a very solid amount of early game damage, especially paired with Eve. And now Pamela has to flicker out from that 3-man gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, almost an off-tempo play from the Joy. Almost ended in disaster. So thankfully Pamela was able to escort Moreno out to a certain degree. But this Phoveus into Akai. I wonder how the interaction is going to be. At level 4, Phoveus is going to suffer because you get pushed away, same as the Joy. But is there a way to go around that?
Actually, no. Akai is a lane counter to Phoveus, actually. Like, he generally does a lot of damage, doesn't dash very much, so you're not getting a lot of Infernal Pursuit stacks, and he's able to eat a lot of it anyway. And like you mentioned, at level 4, you're not really going to be able to do much against him if you're just pinned against a wall. It's not a counter pick you see very often because teams would prefer glue instead, but it still works.
Level 4, speaking of that, it's going to be now. Level 4 for the junglers. Turtle spawning on bottom side. Black still pretty far away from it, so can expect him to not get it anytime soon. Yeah, Esports, they can still contest this as PS is on the purple buff, but I think they're gonna let it go. No point contesting this. They don't really need it as much. Heavy spin available for Luke. Turtle for BTR.
With a Matilda and an Akai EXP, Bigatron has much better control over objectives and river fights compared to AI this early on. The only way that AI can really kind of circumvent that is if Black is able to find a good shortcut into the backline to pick off Eman and maybe cut off escape routes that Pamela could offer. But since the chip is not level 4 yet, nor do they have enough burst because a lot of their cores do need 1 or 2 items before they start hurting, AI Esports just has to choose to ignore most objectives until a little later in the game.
As long as they can kind of farm up PS and Alita, they should be in a decent spot. Not to mention that they have the Eve, so it's going to be that great base defense if they ever fall behind. As long as BTR doesn't kind of run away with the lead. They have tons of utility for sure, and of course this Akai feels like that be-all end-all solution. But AI Esports is not giving them that opportunity, and if this Matilda isn't able to kind of accelerate the lead, I think AI Esports will be in a very comfortable spot.
But I think that Bigatron actually scales into the late game without too much problem either, right? Like, yes, I can see how Joy and Bruno, once maxed out on items, can be very dangerous, but Bigatron has the Granger, who so far has been destroying late game. Moreno already performed very well on Valentina previously, and Akai's utility will still remain relevant all the way to the end, Matilda as well. So I think it's perfectly balanced, and Bigatron can play the game as fast or as slow as they actually want to.
Because like both teams kind of have the same archetype to a certain degree, where you have that late game insurance where you both don't mind playing slow. But if that's the case, is there a team that kind of wants to take more initiative? Is it a team with the chip? Is it AI?
Well, speaking of the chip, here's the shortcut for TOZ, but he's just able to dash away. The teleport-ins were a bit too slow by AI to actually do anything with it.
So at the end of the day, it's still AI Esports making the attempt, but again, not getting much in return. We sort of expected this. You have great disengage tools with Heavy Spin and Guiding Wind anyway. Eman just got his Sky Piercer. See the second turtle fight. AI Esports intention to contest. Mazi is in. RWM still is going to be PS taking the turtle away. Heavy Spin used by Luke as unfortunately this Phobius out of position. Sniped down by Eman. First blood for BTR.
Impressively done by PS though, being able to find the angle to dash in, get the retry timing despite the heavy spin. But Bigatron still find it pretty worth it to get that first blood gold. It's a good amount going over to Eman out of all people as well.
It's going to be, I mean, for Bigatron to get the first blood, that's a good start for Eman, for sure. But does this change the matchup for like Bruno Granger? I know Bruno kind of got a bit of a nerf. Does it affect it a lot overall, or it's just kind of a drop in the ocean? We'll talk about it in a bit, because unfortunately, it's going to be a gank. TOZ is not going to get out of that. Good read from AI Esports. Stolen shortcut! As Moreno is going to summon his own squad, and Eman just found a second kill, and unfortunately for Mazi, he's going to be trapped, so Eman cashes in on a double.
You know, somehow it completely slipped my mind that a stolen shortcut was possible here. And oh, that's very aggressive by Pamela. Real world manipulation gonna punish and even force out a flicker from Eman. They're not able to get the kill on Alita.
Very nicely done from Oh My Jenny, saving Alita and also giving him a second kill. That's gonna definitely help accelerate this Bruno a little bit to keep up with Eman.
And to answer your question from earlier as to how the Bruno nerf might affect the Granger matchup, it doesn't, because Granger was already supposed to beat Bruno in lane. Like he specifically gained popularity for being able to outrange Bruno and farm safely. So a Bruno nerf only makes it easier for Granger to maybe perform, but Alita so far doing a good job, and Bigatron
gonna find Black. Luke, heavy spin, trying to isolate the battle lines, but he's taking too much damage. He's probably gone. Alita gets a killing spree. And PS, he's going to show out Electrifying Beast. That's the target. Pamela getting shocked to death. AI Esports finds 2 kills and a turtle.
The movements by Bigatron Alpha are kind of baffling me a little bit. Like, yes, it's okay to be aggressive, but why did Luke dive all the way behind his tower where the rest of his team could not reach him? And why would Bigatron stay so long when they don't know where PS is? Bigatron has a lineup that has a lot of tools. They're very balanced actually. Good damage, good utility, good vision placement. And they're not using it correctly, resulting in AI Esports actually taking the advantage in a lot of fights where they shouldn't really be.
AI Esports, just like that. They're now up 2.6k. Wow, Holy Crystal up for PS. That is so fast.
That has to be a second item, Holy Crystal. I think PS probably rushed it. There is no way that's a third item. I don't think he's that rich. AI only has a 2.5k lead.
That's gonna catch BTR off guard for sure. But that means AI, they're committed to that big snowball to keep on kind of a rolling, kind of keep that lead going, keep on stepping on the gas. Is there a way for BTR to kind of slow this down? I mean, we've seen Luke use that heavy spin to try and break the battle lines, but he just gets bursted down way too fast.
They really don't need to try and force a setup with the heavy spin. They can save it. The same way that, like, I always think Tigreal should save Implosion for later in the fight. I know Bigatron, they don't really have any other way of setting up a fight outside of the heavy spin, but that's what you have the Matilda for. It lets you engage and disengage safely until you can find the correct angle and maybe force AI Esports in a position where they have to be the initiators, thereby wasting resources first. Bigatron doesn't have to be the one making things happen a lot of the time. They're perfectly fine to play it slow and scale, but now that they've made the mistakes, they actually do need to ideally even things up against AI. It's a little bit of a self-created issue.
The lead is just gonna start ballooning bit by bit. See that again, close to a 3k advantage for AI Esports with the Lord spawning, and look at where the chip is, right? Such a off angle there. I don't think BTR would expect. Emman actually spots him out. Good stuff. Good awareness. So Black is going to flicker away. That's the stolen RWM for Moreno. Bigatron Alpha takes the fight right now. Counter RWM. Mega kill for Emman. Lord though secured by the side of Matzi. At the end of the day, it's still 2 kills for BTR. Emman gets the double, but AI finds the objective.
TOZ needed to mind his position a little bit more. Luke had already got in. He got the pin on PS, but because TOZ ended up dropping, it became a 50-50 of who was going to get the Lord, and Matzi was able to finish it off. A good attempt, and again, I'm quite impressed by how well Moreno is using the ultimates that are being stolen, but the rest of Bigatron Alpha are lacking a bit of coordination.
And because of that, now this Lord is going to allow AI to really start dealing some substantial damage to BTR's base. Start with all the tier 2s, right? Top tier 2s going down. Lita leading the charge. Let's say Bigatron Alpha, they do have plenty of damage, more than enough to get rid of the Lord, but AI Esports, if they can get at least one more tier 2, at least you can start establishing presence around the map. Although Luke would find the location of PS.
PS just got Blood Wings as well. You can see the way that AI is surrounding them. The burst, Bigatron just zoned off of their mid-tier 2, not even given a chance to defend it.
Insane damage from PS. So it's all tier 2s down. AI Esports now gets plenty of map control, plenty of presence around the map.
I personally am a little bit disappointed with how Bigatron has been piloting this composition. It is very balanced. I actually like it quite a lot, but they haven't been able to take a single tower the entire game. They also are losing out quite a bit in terms of gold lead, despite having lane priority a lot of the map. There's definitely been some miscalculations in the way that they've approached things so far, but AI Esports are definitely reaping the rewards of the situation. And now Bigatron in a bit of a tough spot, but they do still have solid base defense, so maybe they can drag the game out long enough to do something with it.
Hopefully, that's gonna be the case. For AI, now that we've reached this stage, it really comes down to whether Black can make it happen. It's gonna flicker on top of Emman. PS though, access to the backline, knocked out by the Circling Eagle. Emman with the flicker, just good defense from Bigatron Alpha. Stiff arming AI Esports to counter RWM. Just does nothing. Good isolation from Luke, separates the battle line. Moreno gotta be very careful as Alita just kicks him to death with the soccer balls, but Alita so out of position. Black's gonna come in to help him. Alita being kind of away. Emman takes him down. Muzzy a bit late with the flicker. Dark Wave. Plenty of mistakes from AI side. Triple kill for Emman, and it is just clean up season for Bigatron Alpha. A complete wipeout in the top side of the map.
That is what professionals would define as a throw. AI Esports did not need to force that. I think Black was totally fine to try and re-engage, but Emman was actually prepared for it, already dashing away by the time the shortcut came through. And initially, it looked good for them, right? They were actually trading well, but then they stayed a bit too long. I think PS also tried to go too far without team backup. Joy needs the team to play around her. This hero is still very squishy, despite the damage that she does, so that immediately turns the entire gold lead. And now the Lord falls to Bigatron, and they can actually make plays with this.
Yeah, another shortcut. Catching Moreno, they want him dead. Luke with another heavy spin. Black is isolated and Black will fall. Legendary for Eman. In AI Esports, they want to take the initiative, but with Alita going down, I think this game might just be done and dusted. AI Esports essentially locked out. 3 more left to a 3v5, but without Alita, it is down to Oh My Jenny and Muncie. Maybe PS can find a backline dive with the damage that he has. One last hurrah, Bigatron Alpha, eyes on the prize. Muncie goes in, tries to buy time. PS takes care of the Lord with electrifying beats. Once Moreno cannot get it, circling Ego knocks him up. Eman assassinates him, finds a double kill. Black is now back. They need 5 more seconds for Alita to be back into the game, but Oh My Jenny tries to stall it out, just does not have the damage with the empowerment minions on BTR side. It is a definitive victory. The series done and dusted. BTR 2-1 over AI.
Multiple mistakes in a row by AI Esports that